All right, North Frisco CrossFit, friends and family, here we go. CrossFit Open 19.3. Castro went ahead and threw us all a curveball in this one and introduced a couple of new movements that we've not seen before. So we've got a interesting workout with some grunt work up front and then some high skill work on the backside. So let's talk about it, let's dive into it. So our workout this week for 19.3 is 4 time, but it carries a 10-minute time cap. We have a 200-foot dumbbell lunge, 50 box step-ups, 50 strict handstand push-ups, and then a 200-foot handstand walker bear crawl. Couple things to note. First off is the dumbbell lunges and the box step-ups. That's just 1 dumbbell per, and I'm going to talk more about that when we get into the movement section of this little video right here. So that's one thing to think about. It's just 1 dumbbell, not 2, which is what we normally train with, so that's a good thing for most of us. However, it is two brand new movements. The dumbbell box step-ups and the strict handstand push-ups, those are 2 movements that are brand new to us in the CrossFit Open, and this is one of the first times that they've done that. They've not put in 2 like that, so we've got a lot to look forward to. Disclaimer, let's just talk about this right out front right now and get over with. This is the idea of the Open. So everybody that's upset about, oh, strict handstand push-ups, I can't do this or I can't do that. The actual idea of the Open is to push you and yourself further than you thought you could do and for you to achieve something that you didn't think was possible. This strict handstand push-up is exactly what we're talking about and exactly what Dave Castro is looking for when he programs this Open workout. So I want you to think about it, and I want you to go into mindset if you're somebody that hasn't done a strict handstand push-up or you're not sure you can do one, whether it's RX or scaled. I want you to go in with the mindset that this is exactly what the Open is about. Stay positive, work hard on the front end in the first 2 movements to get to the strict handstand push-ups, and then rest a little bit and then let magic happen. We've already had magic happen 7 or 8 times this morning of folks that have not been able to ever get a strict handstand push-up, and they've gotten between 5 and 17 reps this morning. So it's been a really fun morning and a lot to look forward to. So keep that mindset as we go in today. All right, let's talk about a little bit of warm-up and mobility. Pretty much we've got to work on everything. The first half is lower body, the second half is upper body, so we've got to work it all. So let's talk about that. Let's start out with mobilization of our shoulders, our lats, and then our pectoral muscles. Everything that we need to press with and everything that we need to open up as far as holding onto that dumbbell on the shoulder or in the front rack. Those are the areas we need to work on. Don't forget our obliques. Make sure you get some twisting and some rotational stuff in while you're dumbbell lunging, while you're box stepping up for sure, and maybe even on the wall if you get there. You're gonna have some torsion, you're gonna have some rotation. So that's something with obliques that you want to work on as well. And then let's talk about the lower body. Everything below the waist on this one for sure. On the lunge portion, we're definitely going to have a lot of quad burn in the lunge portion, and then we're going to flip that when we go to the box step up, so we're going to involve the hamstrings and the glutes. So you want to make sure we get good mobilization of all that. My idea of a pretty decent warm-up and something that I'll follow and I suggest for y'all to follow, and we've kind of done it this morning, it's worked out pretty well, is the first thing is I'm going to jump on the bike. I'll probably do a little Tabata work there. 20 on, 10 off for 8 cycles of that. That gets my aerobic engine kind of warmed up, gets the blood flowing, gets the lungs pumping. So I'll do that on the bike first, and then I'll jump off of there and do a simple EMOM. It's a simple EMOM of some real basic skill stuff just to keep moving. So I'm gonna look at a EMOM 12 is what I'm gonna work with. We're gonna go 12 body weight lunges, that's 6 per side, 12 body weight lunges on the first minute, 12 body weight step ups on the second minute, a 20-second handstand hold on the third minute, and then on the 4th minute, we're gonna do 10 foot of handstand walk or just 3 kick-ups onto the wall, whichever one you're familiar with and you're comfortable with right there. Going back to the body weight lunges and the body weight step-ups, we don't need the weight at this point. At this point, I just want you guys just getting familiar with the movement and the cadence of how you're gonna do it when you get to the workout itself. After that's finished, I'll actually get my dumbbell, my 50-pound dumbbell that I'm gonna use, and I'll go through some of the movements. I'll go through some lunge. I'll go through some box step-ups. A lot of that is just, like I said before, it's feeling the cadence and the rhythm that you're gonna want and you're gonna need as you go through here. After that, let's move over to the setup and transitions. For those of you that are from North Frisco CrossFit and you're doing it this evening under Friday night lights, the beauty of the setup and the transition is you don't have any. We've already set the gym all the way up for you. Everything's done. All you're gonna have to do is show up and work. For those of you outside the gym that are viewing this video, I believe it should be pretty cut and dry. You're gonna wanna have your lunges end at your box, right? So when you finish your 200 foot of lunge, you're gonna want that box right there in front of you. And of course, when you finish your 50 reps of box step-ups, you're gonna wanna have the wall that you're using right in front of you. Can you just walk right towards it? So you want all that nice and close. So, like I said, everybody at NFX, we're good to go tonight. We got it all set up. You guys will enjoy that. Let's talk about pace a little bit on this one. And there is a variation of pace on this. I think a lot of folks are just kind of looking past it and they're thinking they're just gonna shoot themselves out of a gun and be finished. But there are a couple of pieces that we wanna talk about. So the way I look at this workout, the way I view this workout is I view it as two separate workouts. We have the lunges and the box step-ups that we're gonna start with. That's the first part of the workout. That's all lower body. We need to fly on that piece, especially if we're somebody that doesn't have a strict handstand push-up, or we maybe only have a rep or two of that in us. We need to fly on the first piece, get through it, get it over with, and get a fast high break time. That's gonna be really important. So think of it that way. Lunges and box step-ups, we're definitely lower body on that only. It's not gonna be a lot of trap or a lot of shoulder or anything involvement. So keep that one very lower body. 90%, 95% of rate of exertion, go ahead after it. Then there's gonna be a switch. Let's call it the second workout or the second piece within the first workout. The switch is when we go to the strict handstand push-ups, and then if we're fortunate enough, the handstand walk or the bear crawl. Now everything changes here. We go to upper body. We're definitely gonna be anaerobic. Our heart rate's gonna be up. We're gonna be breathing a little bit. This will be a time where we'll be able to bring that heart rate down a little bit with this work. The beauty here is we're all upper body. We've used all the lower body on the first part, and we're not gonna need much of it here on the second part. Strict handstand push-ups, we're gonna go into all those movements. Small, quick sets is what I'm gonna suggest. We're gonna get into more of that. Typically, you'll find bigger sets mean bigger rest. Smaller sets mean smaller reps. So let's think about that as we go forward, and we're gonna talk about it. Let's move into the next section, and let's break all the movements down, all four of them, kind of one by one, and talk about the standard real quick. So for the lunges, folks that are going RX, you're going to an overhead position, right? There's no minimum as far as switching or right hand, left hand. You can hold it all in the same or switch every 25 if you want. But for the RX folks, you're going in an overhead lunge position. And then for the scale folks, you're going in a front rack lunge. Front rack lunge means that a head of the dumbbell is in the front rack, meaning it can be on a shoulder, right shoulder. It can be on the left shoulder, or it can be right here in the middle, which I've seen a lot of folks play with this morning and they kind of liked. So my suggestion is to try out all those movements and see which one you like. You might want to switch through all three of them. You might want to just pick one and stay with it. Whether you are RX or scaled, whether we're RX or scaled, we have a 50-pound dumbbell and a 24-inch box for the guys, and we have a 35-pound dumbbell and a 20-inch box for the ladies. Both RX and scaled will get that. A couple points of performance on that lunge. Make sure that we're opening our hips in between each lunge step. You don't have to come to a full stop in the middle, but you do have to open your hips. No shuffling of the feet when the 2 feet come together in between the lunge. No shuffling of the feet to get a couple extra inches. And you have to make sure that both of your heels cross over the line. Like we talked about before, this is the first part of that workout. Let's treat it like a buy-in. Let's call it a buy-in. Get it in, get it done really quick, really efficient. Just kind of move through it. My suggestion, switch the dumbbell every 25 feet. Go 25 feet, bring it down to your waist or to your chest, switch it to the opposite arm, and then go again. Try not to put the dumbbell on the ground at all. If we do, let's get at least 100 foot of dumbbell work in before we start putting that thing down. So start thinking about that. Let's move on to the box step-ups. The box step-ups, we just have to make sure the dumbbell is in contact with the body. So there's not a whole lot of rules on this one, which is pretty nice. But it changes everything. Meaning I can have that dumbbell in the same rack position on my right shoulder or on my left shoulder. I can put it behind my neck and hold it behind my neck, which I've seen a lot of people do and like. I can also have it hanging to my side, kind of like a suitcase. Any of those four ways will work. And once again, I would suggest playing with all of them to see which one that you will like. Personally, I'm gonna go with holding the dumbbell behind the neck. I mess with that just a wee little bit and I seem to like that. So that's where I'm gonna start with and I'm gonna go from there. On the box step-ups, once again, we've got a 50-pound dumbbell and a 35-pound dumbbell for RX and scale for men and women, or for men and women. And just like I said in the last section when I was talking about the lunge, we were actually talking about the boxes. The box is 24 inches for the guys for RX and scaled, and it's a 20-inch box for females or RX or scaled. Alternating legs on the box step up. So when you step up with your right, my suggestion is you step down with your right, toe tap your left, and then go right back up. There's a rhythm, there's a cadence to it. We're gonna talk about that in just a second here. Also on the boxes, make sure we're open our hips just like we do on the lunges. So we're gonna use the box step ups just like the lunges, and that's gonna be our buy-in. We're gonna hit those hard, we're gonna hit them fast. Kind of two options there. Unbroken, which a lot of the RX folks that have trained with this should be doing. We should be going unbroken on that. We should hold on to the dumbbell and just move slowly and efficiently through it. If we're thinking of scaling, we have two options there. So for the RX folks that are scaling, my suggestion is that 2, maybe 3 breaks at the most. And for the scaled folks that are really worried about that weight, just split it up between 3 and 5 sets. So that might look like a 15, and then a 15, and then a 10 and 10, or a 15 and a 10, and then maybe you've got another 10, and then where are we at right there? 25, 35, and then an 8 and a 7. So just think about your sets on how you want to break them up. It's okay to break them up. Just think about how you want to do it beforehand. Don't get hit in the face with this one. When you do put the dumbbell down on the box step-ups, put it on the box. Don't put it on the floor. Put it on the box so it's right there in front of you. For those dumbbell step-ups, the last piece I'll talk about, I alluded to it a couple seconds ago, was find a rhythm. Personally, I'll step up with my right, step up with my left, and then I'll step back down with the right, toe tap the left, and then go left, right, back up. I like to toe tap the leg that's getting ready to work next. So it's a rhythm thing and it keeps me in sync and in focus. Play with that a little bit, ask a coach, ask a judge about it, and mess with it a little bit beforehand so you're familiar with that. Now, that's the lower body part. That's the part we're gonna hit as fast as possible. I got a line across to separate the two workouts. We're getting that in, we're getting it done, we're getting it out of the way as fast as we can on that part. Now we're gonna flip scales a little bit. We're going into the strict handstand push-ups. For the folks that are doing RX, you're doing a flat surface, so we have the Dollamore mats out and that's what we'll use. But we're on a flat surface for the RX. For the scaled folks, you're still doing strict handstand push-ups. You have a 5-inch riser, which equates to one of our blue competition plates and an ab mat. So we'll show you that when you get here and we'll get that all set up. That's the way it is for that. So here's my suggestions, because this is the workout, right? The first 2 pieces, 90% of us are all gonna get through it. It's the strict handstand push-up that's gonna be the stop sign. So let's talk about it. Whether we're RX or scaled, if we know our max effort set, my suggestion is that you do a set of around 60% of that max effort set. You rest 10 to 12 seconds, and then you start chipping away small at say 25 or 30% of that max effort until you finish and start dying out to when you have to start doing doubles and singles. So that would be my suggestion there. Fight the urge, just say, you know what, I'm gonna go 18 or 20 right out the gate and make it feel real good. Fight that urge, because this workout is not about the first 25 or the first 30. It's about the last 20 or 25. That's what this workout is all about. If we don't know our max effort set on the strict handstand push-ups, just pick a set of reps and start there. Somewhere between 3 and 5, quick reps, quick rest, and get right back on the wall. Just know that whatever you start with rep-wise, you're not gonna finish with. So just already know that. Tell yourself, I'm gonna start with 4s, I'm gonna maintain 4s for as long as I can with 10 to 12 seconds rest in between, and then I'm gonna switch and I'm gonna go to doubles or singles or whatever it may be. Just have a plan and a plan B going into this about how you're gonna handle these strict handstand push-ups. One of the biggest things, and we talk about it all the time, is that we cannot go to failure. Strict handstand push-up is just one of those movements. When it's gone and it's not coming back. So keep that in mind. Let's move on to the last part. If we're fortunate enough to get there, and hopefully a few of us do tonight, it's a handstand walk for the RX folks, and it's a bear crawl for the scaled folks. Couple of points of performance right there. Whether we are starting whether we're handstand walking or whether we are doing bear crawls, we got to make sure that our hands our hands start behind the start line, and that our heels finish and our hands finish across the finish line each time. So you have to make sure that we got our hands across and our heels across if we're bear crawling each time that we go. Every 5 feet is a rep, and you'll see that marked on our floor. Every 5 feet is a rep. That's important. Let's get into that. Let's talk about it a little bit. Folks that are handstand walking and you've not done it before, or you have very minimal handstand walking capability. Don't be afraid to go 5 feet at a time. If you go 5 feet at a time, quick sets and quick rest, you'll get a lot further than you think you can. Don't think that you need to kick up and walk 25 feet. Even of those folks that are pretty good at handstand walking, it's okay to go 15, come down and go 10. Don't think that you have to stay upside down, balancing yourself for all 25 feet if those shoulders are starting to burn out. If we're fortunate enough to get to this point, that's a pretty big victory for you. Try to get as much as you can in a little amount of time. So think about it that way as you're going through. That's pretty much it. I think this is a really good one for us. Like I said, I want you to stay with that nice positive mindset. This is the idea. This is all about community. This is what the Open is all about. So have fun, have a great night, and definitely good luck to you in 19.3. We'll see you next week.